How do? So, I figured to tell you fellas what I think are the two most pretentious films of the past decade, straight out. I have mixed feelings about art house cinema. I feel that a movie theater you shouldn't have two facilities, one that morons can go to and one that people with half a brain can go to. Because, some people like a smart movie and not big superhero men punching each other, as was the case with Marvel Infinity War, which made an obscene amount of money. And luckily, I live in close proximity to some artsy theaters, and there's always a theater or two that shows something old and not from the past decade, because most of the stuff from the past decade is junk. And then there are, but good movies will always be more expensive than the swill, and that's a real shame, because a lot of movies, there are a lot of movies that really deserve more attention, and then there are some, like the two that I'm going to talk about today, that just get too much attention. Now, my favorite movie of the last 10 years, I'd probably put number one even, is Rubber. It's just a great movie. It's about a tire that kills people. It's so much fun. And I would call it the least pretentious movie, because its entire objective is not to be pretentious. That's what it wants to do. It doesn't want to be stupid and overblown and pretend like it's more than it is. It was probably the most entertaining movie I've ever seen. I mean, I don't even know. I saw it such a long time ago, it's hard to remember. But the point being, it's a good movie. It's really fun. And yet it wasn't shown in any of the big movie theaters. I probably wouldn't have even seen it. But luckily, I did. But the two movies I'm going to talk about today, not only were they the most pretentious garbage, but they were in all the theaters. I was forced to watch both these movies. I never would have voluntarily. But after watching both of them, I thought, well, why are both of them so... why do both of them think they're so hot and so smart? And then I realized it's because they're actually directed by the same guy, and I forget his name exactly, but he's just not a very good filmmaker. The two movies I'm referring to, of course, are The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and Birdman, starring Michael Keaton. We'll start off with The Revenant, with Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, if you know me, or you've watched my Once Upon a Time in Hollywood review, you'll know I don't like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's a big cheese. I think he only got ahead because of his looks, and Titanic is complete trash. The Revenant is no exception to this filmography. He's not that good in it. Actually, because the thing about this movie is, it's not like a normal Western, or really any other movie, because it's got to be all artsy. It's got to have all these special shots, all this special stuff. The first scene is just like the camera just whizzes around this French fur camp, and it goes around their backs and all around their faces. It makes me feel like vomiting. And then we get to the plot of the movie, which is that it's a really stupid plot because the plot is one snowy cowboy who is bad has decided to try and leave Leonardo DiCaprio, who's a good snowy cowboy, dead. I couldn't even tell for the whole movie who was Leonardo DiCaprio and who was the other guy and who are just the other random snowy cowpokes because they all have beards and they're all wearing furry clothing. So yeah, this movie really has no plot except for that Leonardo DiCaprio wants revenge on the guy who left him for dead. And again, I didn't even know this when I was watching the movie. I just looked at the plot synopsis and went with it. Watching this movie, I guarantee you'll have no idea what's going on. It's just a bunch of gruesome scenes of Leonardo DiCaprio going through ice-cold water. Leonardo DiCaprio gets eaten by a big CGI bear. And then there's one part where these cowpokes are in a tent and they're like, "Oh, I has a funny story. Did you know that the squirrel was galled?" And I suppose that's supposed to be comic relief, but it's actually not funny or anything really. And again, I do think French fur trappers need a little more exposure. My ancestors were French fur trappers. They lived in mud houses. So again, I do think a movie about them, it would be a fine thing. The problem is that this movie is bad. And also, the movie says that the guy that it's based on a true story supposedly, and that the guy has this really nice Indian wife and kid, but that's not real, I guess. I saw on Wikipedia that this guy just made a lot of this stuff up. Like, I doubt the real cowpoke even ate a buffalo heart. There's this scene where he's like, it is a friendly native chewing upon a buffalo heart. Hello there, friendly native. May I have some bear heart with you? Oh, certainly, Leo DiCapo. Come on down and munch in. And then he munches on it, like, you know. And it's just the most ecky. And why does this movie need to exist? Because, again, it's very sensationalized, except it's not sensationalized in a fun way, like with Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell in Tombstone. It's sensationalized in a way that makes you think it's so big and important, and it's not. It's just about a snowy cowpoke, and he wants to get revenge on the other. But again, the real story wasn't half so sensational. He probably just walked up on him in a saloon or something and shot him. There was no big monologue, you've ruined. And here's one way to know if a film is too pretentious for its boots, is if it's got a word for its name that you don't even know what it means. I mean, I have a very high vocabulary. I had no idea what revenant meant. I didn't care. I thought it was something religious. I guess I was thinking of reverend. It means someone back from the dead. Except Leonardo isn't a zombie. He's always alive. But really, it's just Oscar bait is all this movie is, and it's not that good. It's not that good. And again, you won't even be able to tell what's happening because the cinematography is so edgy. And also, the camera is garbage. There's almost no dialogue. Mainly, it's just a very boring story with a guy who walks around in the snow for a while. I live in Colorado, so that's nothing. Who cares? Snowy forest, whatever. Bad movie. 1 out of 10. I'd give it 0 out of 10. I don't know if that's allowed. Alright, then we've got the other pretentious trash heap, which is Birdman with Michael Keaton. And this is another red flag, so you can tell if a movie is too pretentious. If it's got a very long, smart-sounding subtitle, like The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. This movie isn't about that. It's about... So this is what I really hate, is that this movie's got Michael Keaton, and he is the best Batman, and this movie does nothing but make fun of the superhero genre and act as if it's all big tanks and explosions. And it's not.
That's what I'm talking about.
And also, he was the best Batman. He was the best Batman. And also, he was Beetlejuice, the funny corpse. What happened to that Michael Keaton? Now he's in this garbage movie. And this movie, it says online, it has the illusion of being all in one shot, but it actually isn't. They actually cut it quite a few times, as I would expect. But the problem is, it's not a cool choice, like, I don't know, with Alfred Hitchcock's Rope. It's more like you follow Michael, because there's only two cuts in the movie, one in the beginning and one in the end. The first shot is of Michael Keaton levitating, and it's never explained how he levitates, or if that's real, because it's just supposed to be all edgy and artsy. And
Smells like balls.
And then it follows his back around these stairs and up these hallways, and he's walking around. And this movie is so boring, except in one part where Birdman comes. See, Michael Keaton plays this actor who used to play this superhero called Birdman, except now he's like, oh no, I don't like superheroes anymore. I am now a big, classy Broadway actor. And the problem is, Michael Keaton was good as Beetlejuice the funny corpse, and now he stars in artsy schlock like this. And sure, I mean, a lot of his early movies, he's kinda amateurish, he's not that good, but he's funny in a Nicolas Cage kinda way. Like there's one scene I remember where he's like, take a pencil, can you do this? You know, if you haven't seen that, I don't know what movie it's from, but it's him. And now he's in this garbage artsy movie where it's like, it's so boring because it's just normal people having normal conversations. And this is like a typical scene. The camera will just kind of move around this table. He'll be with his fellow actors and he'll be like, I think we should have you, Patricia, sit to the left of Steve. And then Steve will be like, no, Michael, I think I ought to be over here. Hey, can we get some cups, please? Thank you. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, have you been to the bar on First Street? It is good. Oh, yeah. Remember how you were in the one thing where, like, oh, yeah. And it's so boring.
Are you afraid people will say you're doing this play to battle the impression that you're a washed-up comic strip character?
It's so boring because it's just watching these normal people do normal garbage, and then to add insult to injury, even though the movie itself is only 2 hours long, it feels like 24 hours. It feels like the time that it's set, because it feels so long. It feels like watching Michael Keaton walk around, and you follow his back, and you just see his back. He's just walking upstairs and downstairs and through hallways. And it's set on Broadway in New York, a place I've never been, a place I don't care about. And it's just him and his snobby friends being like, oh, I'm an artist. Did you know I'm an actor? I am in this play. I'm in that play. and Michael Keaton is trying to fit in, because he's like, oh no, I played the superhero. I cannot play a superhero good, except he's the best Batman. And also, then at the end, I don't even remember, but he gets in some accident that makes it look like he has a beak, and then he jumps out the hospital window, and the last shot, because the whole movie he has like these visions like Birdman coming and saying, oh, you should be a super, even though Batman doesn't talk like that. That's Christian Bale. And also, he imagines he can fly. And then at the end, like, after his horrible accident, he jumps out his hospital window, and then it cuts to, like, his daughter, who's looking out the hospital window, and she looks up and she smiles. And so, is she happy because her dad is dead? Or is she looking up and he is flying? Or what? But you never know, because that's the end of the movie.
Music.
How lazy. Can Michael Keaton fly? Can he not fly? What's the deal? What happened? What an awful ending to such a boring movie. So overall, I'd give that one a 1 out of 10 also. Same rating I'd give The Revenant, because they just think they're so smart. But smart doesn't equal boring. Like I said, my favorite movie or I don't know, it's not really my favorite movie. I know a lot of movies, but my favorite of the past decade for sure is Rubber. And that's because it's the opposite of boring. It's a lot of fun. Then you got this stupid... It's... The Revenant and Birdman are part of a trend in Hollywood, or movies in general, where they just think they're so smart. And if that's the only alternative to tasteless Transformers and Avengers that there is, like, geez. There are good movies, and then there's bad movies, and there are two types of bad movies. Bad movies that are too popular because they're stupid, and bad movies that are too popular because they're stupid. The only difference is that in two of them, you got Leo DiCaprio playing a snowy cowpoke, and Michael Keaton playing a stuck-up actor, and then the other ones, you got robots, and that's really the only difference. And so I give both of these pretentious trash films 0 out of 10. They have nothing to offer me. They just left me feeling empty and wasted. So that's the end of the review. That's all I got to say about this callous garbage. And if you believe in supporting a better movie, go watch Rubber. I highly recommend it. I'd also suggest you buy a Nicholas comic, because I have less money than Francois Truffaut, or whatever his name is.